Hello and welcome to episode 21 of War Down South, the Warhammer podcast on the south coast of the UK. My name is Callum Slater and I'm joined by my wonderful co-hosts, Mr. Sam Nice.
Hey, hey, hey.
And Mr. Ricky Robson.
Hey.
This week we will be giving an update on our random hobby projects and spending the majority of the episode wish listing some updates to upcoming 9th edition codexes. So, sit back, grab a stiff drink, let's go. Okay, fantastic. Thanks for sticking with us. Callum, Ricky, and Sam, how are you gentlemen doing this week?
Irie.
Winning. Honest. Winning.
You always sound so sincere, Ricky.
Yeah, you never sound that convincing. Yeah.
Oh, should I be like, yeah?
Yeah. One day we're gonna ask you, and you're gonna go like full Tom Cruise on Oprah's couch and just mental.
That's quite funny. I did listen to a podcast about Scientology today, so good job. That's a weird coincidence.
Gene Stealer cult. Gene Stealer cult.
I imagine the Gene Stealer cult are a bit more Branch Davidians than anything, but
I suppose what? Necrons are quite Scientology?
Are you suggesting that the Silent King is L. Ron Hubbard?
Yeah. Do you reckon?
Now that's the episode title.
Should we just stop the episode now and just leave it at that?
That's it. Good job.
Yeah, I don't think we can top that. I'll just loop Ricky saying big ones for like another hour and a half, and that'll be it.
You've got a nice little cache of sound effects and clips now, I imagine. Featuring all the naughty words you have to bleep out. So how are you guys? All good? Yeah.
Yeah.
All good, mate.
Busy, business busy, and then sneaky, hobby sneaky.
Oh, okay.
What have you been? What hobby have you been squeezing into your 9 to 5 work hours?
I have really fallen back in love with the Grey Knights again, having mistakenly opened the case, as you know.
Opened
the vault. Needed to paint something clean. Did the Dread Knight Grandmaster, and now that's toppled into Voldus and the Brotherhood Champion, and now there's 10 Interceptors behind me. I think they might overtake the Death Guard.
I do notice that that's all of the stuff that I started to paint, so you don't get too many props for that.
It's all base coded.
Well, yeah.
You primed it for me. Well done.
I primed it. I glazed it. I built up some of the silver on some of those Interceptors.
Oh, he's resprayed it since then.
Yeah, he hasn't. No, he hasn't. I can tell. But no, it is looking fabulous. That Voldus is amazing.
Yeah, I was quite pleased with how he came out. I tried to pay extra attention to his face area because he's my only guy without a hat. So yeah, it has nothing to do with the fact that I only have 30 models to paint to finish this army rather than 70 odd to finish the Death Guards.
Wow, is it that much bigger?
Yeah.
God, I wouldn't have thought that.
It's all Poxwalkers.
Oh. All right.
It's
yeah.
There's 4-point models. Don't worry.
There's like 50. Okay. There's like 50 Poxwalkers to paint, and then more other
50 Poxwalkers. Oh, and there's some Marines with that.
Yeah.
There's no power armor in my army. Thank you very much.
There's no power armor in any Nurgle army.
It's naked or cataphracti armor. Those are the two options in my army list.
And yourself, Ricky, what have you been up to?
stuff.
Cracking on with stuff.
Still doing some secret stuff.
I think we could run a community poll on Ricky's cryptic hobby time. What's he actually doing?
Yeah, someone who knows how technology works do that.
Cool. We'll run a poll on the Facebook page.
So,
I'll leave it open so we can have the obligatory "What about the droid attack" on the Wookiees comment. But feel free to guess what Ricky's actually doing, and we'll read the results out.
At some point in the future.
What about you, Sea Dog?
Oh, that felt forced.
Did it?
That is literally the whitest thing you've ever said.
What can I say? I'm preaching to the younger generation.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you. I've been doing a bit of work on. I think the last time we talked, I was painting some new bases for my knights. So in the intervening time, I've built some more bases for some potential knight reinforcements.
So you've got a stash of bases?
No, I've got a stash of unbuilt knights.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, it sounded like you just bought bases, built bases, and then thought about what you might want to put on those bases.
No.
Callum does make a good base. Wouldn't surprise me if he was just churning out bases.
Bases are the first thing you should do with a new army. Because then, when you move on to your next project, you've already got a bunch of bases ready to go. Which is what happened with those Grey Knights. Those were all supposed to be for my Death Watch army.
Were they? Brilliant.
So I've been building like bases for more Warglaves and for a couple of new bigger knights as well. Knights. Last Saturday, I had a premonition that the Adeptus Mechanicus Codex was going to be up for pre-order soon. So I popped down to our local toy emporium, Fistful of Dice, and
Emporium.
It's an emporium. They sell lots of different things.
Yeah, true. I won't take that from them.
Picked up the current Start Collecting set because obviously they'll be getting a bigger combat patrol box and 2 boxes of the cavalry.
What's in the current one? That's the boat, some little blokies, and the fat boy, is it?
It's not.
That's
it's
the
not
technical terms for them.
It's not the fat boy. Yeah, it's one of the floaty boats, 10 Scutari, and a Tech Priest.
Oh, it's just the one with the axe.
They just swapped out the Walker for the hovercraft gubbins thing.
Yeah, so they from the previous one to this one, they swapped the Dune Crawler for the hovercraft and the Tech Priest Dominus for the regular Tech Priest engines here. So I've built the bases for a bunch of that stuff and put the actual like robot horses together. Quite an interesting kit.
You're going full Space West. Cowboy Scutari.
Just with the anticipation of like potentially if I'm going to continue playing with knights whilst everyone's moaning about how good Drakari are.
Not anymore.
No, they did.
Oh, they're shit now.
Yeah, they didn't come first in 2 tournaments, so it's okay.
So it's over, mate.
If you burn them, throw them away.
Yeah, the Drakari Red Scare is over. But no, just thinking I could do with a little bit of secondary flexibility with the knights. Plus, Space West Mechanica stuff is all really cool, and they're getting a new codex, which from all the GW previews and stuff, pretty cool. So saw some new stuff today.
I haven't had a look at that yet.
Yeah, pretty cool. They had the sort of like the character upgrades today.
Did they? I didn't see that.
So there's 4 types of them, and then each one has a subset of types of stratagems that they make cheaper once per game, and then they've got a like inherent buff and then if they do a special action, they get like a super buff. So it represents them playing with their toys and making them super tech priesty, which is quite cool. Quite an interesting mechanic.
Ooh. Sounds cool.
No one got the
I
pun?
am looking forward to them. I am looking forward to them.
Yeah, so but I'm sort of debating whether or not I want to like play about with the Mechanicus models to make them slightly less Mechanicus-y. So they're like, yeah, sort of like I want a bunch of models that represent like the rest of the Knight household. So, but where it's a
As in,
Mechanicus
like,
Knight army,
noble
like,
style guy.
yeah, I just want to like incorporate like a bunch of different bits and models. So I might do I might use the legs of Gene Steel and Neophytes, so the guardsman level guys, because they've got really cool funky armor on their legs.
Oh, they got the padding and stuff, haven't they?
Yeah, they got the padding and like the big
almost
boots.
like a jumpsuit.
Yeah, and then I've seen a bunch of people do it, and then using the like top half of the Scutari, it gives them a sort of more rugged, more sort of human feel to them. But
That's cool. I saw some nice ones done the other day that someone did using like the Delac bodies and then like the Scutari Ranger arms and heads.
Oh, I don't like that. Yeah,
I thought they looked really cool.
Yeah, I've seen some. I know because lots of people have done it, and they just look a bit. To me, they look like the waving arm inflatable tube man.
I can see that. They are quite tall, aren't they?
Are you doing a Family Guy quote?
Yeah, there you go.
Good man. Proud of you.
Thanks. Yeah, no, I'm not particularly a fan of those. Or the ones that I've seen haven't gone to a lot of effort to make it not look like they've just put Scutari heads and guns onto that.
Oh, I wish I'd taken a screenshot
there is
of them.
nightly
The ones I saw
households, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, there are nightly households.
Like sorry, when households. I mean like infantry of sorts that protect.
Yeah, they have like
the Titans and stuff, don't they?
Yeah, well, they so they've sort of the stuff that protects the Titans is all Mechanicus stuff.
That's the same Scutari, isn't it?
I wondered if there was a guard regiment of sorts, a bit like what you get on like Terror and it's that kind of rubbish.
I feel like there's a design space for GW to implement some sort of serfs and thralls for the knights, just to give them a bit of variation. But it's very difficult because obviously the important thing about the knight army is that you've got big stompy robots, rather than
it's difficult as well because they're technically not Imperium, are they either? If you look back through their fluff, they're kind of like before the dawn of the Imperium, where mankind expanded.
Yeah,
they're
exactly.
Like a really old, like blueprint style machine that was designated to protect the planet rather than actually the Imperium of man.
Yeah, exactly. The night households are really weird things that are like they're almost like the Mechanicus, that they operate in a different sphere to the rest of the Imperium,
but kind of still work alongside them.
Yeah, and since they get discovered, they essentially commit themselves to serve either like the Emperor or the Omnissar. But I've got some ideas about stuff like that.
Or somewhere else.
Yeah, or whatever. But
or they get wrecked.
Or they get wrecked. Yeah. So I'll be working on that. Obviously the codex and all that stuff goes up for pre-orders tomorrow, so I might order.
Is it tomorrow? Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what they do to the Cowboys.
Yeah. I was like looking at them and I was like, oh, I hope they don't change, because I've made the sort of Ranger cavalry, the ones that get the pre-game move, instead of the ones which are like the guys with all the
Bernie
boys and the Bernie, the flamethrower mouth dog horse.
And
I'm hoping that they don't make those a lot better than the the scouty ones now. But we'll see. Yeah, but it's just something else whilst I wait for the Knight Codex, because I don't.
Why not?
Yeah, I don't particularly. The thing is I don't particularly want to build anymore, because I don't. I've not like multi-purposed any of my knights. So I've not put magnets on so I can swap out the guns or anything like that. I like.
You're a real hobbyist where you just make it one way and then buy another
Commit
one.
to the night.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
You commit.
Yeah.
Not this poor man's hobby where you magnetize everything.
No,
you buy multiples.
God forbid anybody would want to get most use out of their 95 quid models.
God, what's the point in that? You just buy more than one.
Yeah, exactly.
What is this? Some kind of peasant joke that I'm too rich to understand?
Yeah, I mean that is that. Yeah, but yeah. So I don't want to commit to building like an errand or something like that, and it not be useful. So we'll see. I've got enough. I'm currently in the phase of building loads of armigers, so that's keeping me busy. But yeah. So I'm having fun with that, and just it'll be nice to use the Scutari stuff, even if it's just like a couple of units of infantry and some of the cavalry, to sort of fill out a list and give me a break between painting and building knight stuff, which is quite cool.
Good job.
Thanks. So the Mechanica stuff all goes up for pre-order on Saturday the 22nd. So only one new model in the Scutari Marshal, but there's the Codex dice, data cards, etc. So that'll be really interesting to see how they actually look, whether or not they're going to be on the power level as Space Marines, Dark Angels, and Drakari.
Oh, that'll be the next broken thing, mate. You know how it works.
Yeah.
Everyone will read the book. Everyone will throw their toys out the pram.
Yeah, it's going to lose.
It's been out a day.
Lose their collective minds, I'm sure. But out for actual release tomorrow is the first half of the Soulblight Gravelords, which is really cool.
That? I'm joking.
Oh, I was like, what? Which is really cool. So I think the rest of it's out next week. But
okay, that's good.
I thought that was really cool, and I kind of thought that like a lot of that stuff was only previewed 2 weeks ago. In the
I suppose it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, really.
I suppose they're quite far behind. They're just pushing now.
Yeah, I was just sort of like, is this the quickest something's come out after a preview? And it's not like, and we only saw bits and pieces from like the Soulblight range because of leaks months ago. So obviously, if everything had gone to plan, we would have had like Warhammer Fest, and this would have come out quite soon afterwards. So that's quite cool.
I suppose so.
Yeah, and there's quite a few people in the local community getting excited about them, and sort of, I can feel a general buzz about AOS 3, which I'm quite excited about.
I've seen new armies being started. That's quite good. Yeah. Nice to see. I think I saw a Beast Claw army starting again.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
Is it yours?
Right. No, it's not mine. It's not mine.
Did you scrape all the dust off it again?
I think it was James Jarvis, part of the Haven't Club. He's started smashing out some Beast Claws, ready for AOS 3.0. I was like, oh, that's quite good. Nice
I'm excited for 3.0. It'll be a good excuse to finish off something, I think.
I'm excited for 3.0 to get back in from the start of a new edition, because I missed 2 entirely. Completely. I think I played 2 games of 2 at the start, and that's it. That's all I did.
Yeah, I
that's bad.
I've played like a couple of. Well, I played a little bit right at the start. I played it in a couple of events and things, but yeah, it just sort of got eclipsed out of the universe by 40k, like as 40k does.
Even Underworlds, I think, in between that took our attention away.
Yeah, that's true. We had a spate of Underworldsing. Although speaking of Underworlds, like I hate scalpers, right? So
well, don't we all?
So like I've seen people who, because the Crimson Court, the Soulblight warband was released like a couple of weeks ago, and it's sold out everywhere, and you can't get it. And like people are breaking it up and selling the individual characters for like 15-20 quid, and people are buying them. It's just like it's going to be restocked in like 2 weeks. like,
But I really want.
I need it now.
yeah, exactly. So
That's what happens when people live with their parents and they have expendable income, and they really want something.
Just Ricky, grape shotting judgment across all socio and economic groups.
Yep.
Just
Yeah.
live with your parents, therefore you've got money, and you're a whiny little bitch. I think I quoted you accurately there, Ricky. Yeah.
Now, there's the episode title.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. All right.
I don't know if I want to deny that or not.
Nah, fuck it.
I mean, it's probably fairly accurate. I
have been drinking since 3.
Oh, good. Well, what are you drinking? We've not done this in a few weeks. I've had a good few weeks off of drinking, which has made me realise that how much I hate the world. So,
and so you're on your Budweiser again, aren't you?
We're back on a very. No, I've got some fancy BrewDog cans of. I don't really like lager, but this was in the house. So.
Why was it in the house?
Are you drinking Becky's booze again?
No. This is mine, but I've got it. Just don't worry about it. It's fine.
I'm not. I'm worrying about you, mate. Are you going to get stabbed?
Am I going to get stabbed? Why?
For drinking someone's booze?
No, it's mine.
Oh, okay. Just making
the real Callum doesn't buy lager. This is clearly one of the clones.
No, it was. It was a poorly thought gift. Obviously.
That you didn't give to someone.
No, that somebody gave to me because they thought they knew me, but clearly haven't.
And if you listen to this podcast,
I think I can hear someone's heart breaking in the ether.
Yeah, what are you drinking, Ricky?
I'm on the triple distilled 100% grain spirit Tesco own vodka.
Bottom shelf, beige label, beautiful.
Yeah, it's one of the only things that you can get in the local one stop. That's a litre. And I'm on a.
It has a little new potato in it instead of a tequila worm.
Yeah, and low carb, low sugar diet. You know, got to hit the vodka instead, haven't I? Instead of the rum. That's where I'm at.
Fair enough.
Sad times.
You got a fancy beverage, Sam, or are you tucking into?
No, I had one. Yeah, I've just got a cuppa at the moment. I had a fancy beverage earlier. I had a bit of day drinking whilst I was on my meetings. Alana was doing a promo for someone, so I had this big blueberry mushroom flavored gin cocktail thing, and it was awesome.
In a meeting.
Yeah,
I'm going to tell your boss,
mate. That's incredible. Well done.
Although saying that, it wouldn't really be telling on your boss because she cracked open a bottle of Moe in the office this week. So
yeah. I mean, everyone at our place is a closet alky anyway, so it would. You know, the mantra is as long as you're functioning, it's fine.
You guys are the only guys that go to the Village Hotel, aren't you?
No, we'll never go again.
Village.
We went there for a Christmas party once, and after like 4 cunts appeared in Lame pretending to be ABBA, we were just like, nah, done, never again. Taxi back to Southsea.
No. We got the taxi. We got a taxi home because the directors cut off the free bar, and
there were people pretending to be ABBA.
I didn't realise, and I ordered Sam and I 2 double rum and cokes, and it cost me £22.
Yeah, sounds really paying you back.
Yeah, so that was we're finishing these and we're going home.
And then we screamed at the intern to sing Wonderwall until he looked like he was going to cry. It was amazing.
Yeah. Oh, poor guy.
Anyway,
because he had a Parker coat on.
Anyway. Other GW news. Saturday the 22nd, which is obviously in the past when you're hearing this, was the Warhammer Animation Studio preview. So as you're listening to this in the future,
we haven't seen it yet.
It was really good. Loads of really exciting projects. I was really surprised by the last one.
I'm going to be an edgelord. It was shit.
Don't do that, bruh.
I'm excited for it.
Yes, yeah. I like considering the stuff that we've seen in the teasers before, and the like level of detail that they put into the 40k 9th edition like reveal trailer thing. Like,
there's some talent at the moment, isn't there?
Yeah, I've got some high hopes for it. Didn't they take? Is this the same studio that took on the guy that did like the Astartes thing as well?
Yeah.
Is he part of that studio now? Yeah. Got high hopes for that.
Yeah, there's lots going on. Like Angels of Death has to be out like soon. I'm looking forward to that. Which is the Blood Angel versus Tyrannid one that's all in black and white, unless something's red. Which
yeah, I was about to say, hold on, there's colour it. No, it's just red.
Yeah, it's just red. Yes, that'd be cool. Yeah, so go back and watch that because you really missed some good stuff. Covered our ass there, nobody noticed. Right. So this week, so if you join us after the break, we're going to engage in one of our favourite hobbies, and that is wild speculation about 40k.
Yay!
And
it's the best part of the hobby.
It is one of the best parts of the hobby because people get themselves worked up and then their dreams are broken, and it's great. So we're going to each of us have taken some time to think about some or winged it, or are planning on winging it whilst everyone else is discussing their own ideas. About what we would like to see with some upcoming codexes to bring them sort of in line with the madness that is like the Drakari, Space Marine, and Death Guard books. So stick around, enjoy some dubstep, and we'll be back after the break. Okay, thanks, and I hope you enjoyed that dubstep or what other free music Sam has found on the internet. Break. So Sam, Ricky, and Callum. So we're going to be diving into some rampant speculation about some of our armies that we've got and how we would like to see them updated and brought into line with the 9th edition codexes. So Sam, why didn't you go first? What codex have you chosen?
Well, probably not a surprise to anyone, given that I'm back on the Grey Knight wagon. I felt like some rampant speculation about the Grey Knight book, given that we've been teased a box with some Thousand Sons and Grey Knights in. Now's the time for some rampant speculation, I reckon.
Perfect.
It's not a massive list of things. Like I'm not sure an upgrade to 9th edition can fix a lot of the problems with the army. Some things got addressed. Some things got addressed with Psychic Awakening. I think the main thing on my wish list is that if they're going to do a new book, that everything that they gave them in Psychic Awakening gets rolled into that book in one form or another. The points reduction was a big help.
Yeah, I mean that's been something that has happened. The things that are in Psychic Awakening for the books that have been released are present in one way or another.
Yeah, like the points reductions that came in that, like the introduction of the warp tides, like those things really helped what was a suffering codex in my opinion.
What are they? I've been a little bit probably head buried in the sand when it came to when Grey Knights got a bit of an update.
Yeah, it was in Ritual of the Damned. So they got like a whole new psychic discipline to sit alongside Santic. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head.
Oh, it's a new discipline. That's cool.
There's a new discipline. On top of that, they got the warp tide. I think it's called like Masters of the Warp or something, where you pick there's like 4 or 5 tides of the warp that can be one can be dominant at any particular time. So you pick one to start the game with, and then there's psychic power in the new discipline that lets you change the dominant tide during the game.
Oh, okay.
But you know that
Nice.
one, like the one that you always start the game active with, just means that all your Grey Knights have the benefit of cover whether they're in it or not. So
Okay. So it's similar to what
yeah,
is
there's
being rolled out with the new codexes and stuff.
yeah. There's some really cool stuff in there. That's my main thing in there. I'm kind of hoping that they don't restrict Grandmasters in the same way that they have Space Marine captains and things, although they might. I'm
Do you think
hoping
there's more of them then?
Well, there's 8 Grandmasters in one chapter, so like I'm kind of hoping that we get to have at least one per detachment, maybe.
Oh yeah. I don't think it'll be. I don't think it'll be restricted past that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you'll get one Grandmaster keyword per detachment.
Yeah, and to go alongside that, the other thing that I'm really hoping is that we get what seems to be the new flavor. Everyone else seems to have got one at the moment, which is a stratagem to share around extra warlord traits. Because at the moment, no, they don't have one in any form. So I'd like that, because at the moment, I always want first to the fray on my Grandmaster Dreadnought, so he can re-roll his charges when he drops him. And that, and I think it's units around him. I can't quite remember now. It's been so bloody long. But obviously, he's going to go windmilling in and probably die and give away Slay the Warlord. It would be nice to be able to have my actual Warlord elsewhere.
No one takes Slay the Warlord, Sam. No one.
Whatever the fuck it is these days.
It's a secondary.
Yeah.
And nobody ever takes it, so you don't have to worry about your Warlord ever.
Well, that's not too much of a problem these days, then. But I want more Warlord traits. I can't see it happening, but I would like a dial back to the version where there wasn't. I think Thousand Sons had the same thing, where there wasn't the penalty to casting Smite, because we didn't get a proper Smite anyway.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't see them changing the fact, giving us a normal Smite. So, the one wound Smite thing, I'd like that to go back. But maybe, I don't know. There could be problems. Obviously, like, you can just spam minimal units, considering everything casts Smite in that army. But
that's the kind of thing. As at the moment, like they still get the +1 to cast Smite, and there's lots of ways to get pluses. Plus, you can activate the Tide of the Warp, where your Smites do an extra mortal wound. So all of the units are at least doing 2 mortal wounds anytime they smite, or if they're hitting demons, 4 mortal wounds.
It's so short range, though. But I
was chatting to, I can't remember who it was last week, saying that like I would like to see the Thousand Sons and Grey Knights bring in something else to the psychic phase. Like psychic powers doing mortal wounds feels like it's a really limited design. So when we were back playing 7th edition, and you had Magnus and all of these Thousand Sun psychics throwing out like loads of strength 5 hits on units and different like shooting attacks through their psychic powers, that felt like it had more variation.
Let's bring back high elves moving terrain.
Well, I mean, this could be a perfect excuse to, with that Thousand Sons Grey Knight box, to bring in the long speculated 40k endless spell variants. Something cool like that.
Yeah, like
a physical presence on the battlefield. You mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like that would make sense for like some armies, for sure. And obviously those 2 armies are quite psychic heavy. I'm really interested to see how they work that. I would like to see both of those armies be absolutely ridiculous in the psychic phase, as they both should be.
Yeah.
But then be introduced into the meta at roughly the same time. So hopefully they keep each other in check in the so there's not like a one faction is dominating the psychic phase at events, and everyone else is poor and can't cast psychic powers.
Do you feel that an army like Grey Knights, if you say dominates the psychic phase so much, the fact that they're actually quite good in combat and so on, you need some restrictions somewhere along the line between the phases?
Well, that's normally where them being so historically overcosted has come in and balanced.
At the moment, like a Grey Knight Strike Marine, I think is either the same points or like a couple of points more expensive than an Intercessor.
Okay.
And yeah, he's got a Storm Bolter and like a Power Sword, but the Intercessor is going to kill him from 30 inches away.
Yeah,
and also has 2 wounds and more attacks.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like I think the thing that really restricts Grey Knights is actually their naff shooting. They've got Storm Bolters and like the odd side cannon dotted around.
Yeah, and the side cannon, while fun, it historically doesn't bust anything.
Well, yeah, in this edition, it's a it's a 1 damage auto cannon
these days, isn't it?
Yeah. They're not particularly potent.
Are we crying out old schools? I want them to be good again.
Well, like the thing is that Grey Knights became like oppressively dominant in like right at the end of 8th edition. In the ITC, because they could power up like 1 of 2 units of 10 paladins, be ridiculous, move out of terrain, shoot in the psychic phase, and then in the psychic phase move back behind line of sight blocking terrain.
Tower battle suits.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, and if they were in range, they didn't even have to move out of that terrain because they could just cast a psychic power to make them shoot through the fucking wall.
Yeah, exactly. So I kind of feel like they're that army that their stuff should be really good. Like a Strike Marine should be better than an Intercessor.
100%. But he is better.
But yeah, but the points have got to reflect it, and like the overall output of the army as a whole, I feel has to be more. I think it has to be used better because it's like a finer instrument, for example, rather than just everything being better and the same cost as Marines.
That's just not.
Yeah, I don't want the Silver Marine Codex. I want it to be really individual. I want. That said, the next on my list is what I want from what everyone wants, and they'll probably get to some extent, which is the extra wound that we've seen all the new Marine books getting.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, you're joking? There's still 1 wound.
Yeah.
The power armor guys are
rolled
still
it out
1 wound.
To everyone except Grey Knights.
Well, no. They rolled it out in the codexes that have been released. So it's in the Space Marine Codex and it's in the Death Guard Codex.
So Chaos Marines didn't get it either then?
Nope.
I thought they did. Beg your pardon.
No.
About to lose my shit there.
No. Everyone
got Age of Sigmar on the community.
No. Everyone got the generic like weapon updates. So like flamers, heavy bolters, and stuff. But the wounds are for the codexes because it's.
And they got some of the Angels of Death stuff, didn't they? Like the.
Yeah, they got shock assault and everything like that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So they got.
The extra wound would be nice.
I'm not.
Yeah. I'm not. I know I've made jokes about it before, but I'm not holding my breath for 4 wound paladins. That's just not going to happen.
No, I would like to see paladins fill a different role to Terminators.
What I would really like on them, because they are just double-hard Terminators. What I would really like is for them to just start fitting in like their fluff role, and just, maybe give them like the bodyguard rule that Death Shroud Terminators have. That because they're the bodyguards and advisors for like the high ups in the chapter.
Yeah,
make them Crusaders.
Make them hit on 2s, like maybe give them like they're better at casting psychic powers than a normal unit of Terminators.
Yeah. I mean, they're already 3 wound Terminators. Like they can't go any further in that direction without it being ridiculous.
You can't have that 4 until you start creeping into something that you're not really.
Well,
is it?
yeah, like if anything was going to get that, my money was on like Death Guard Terminators being that, but they're naturally tougher anyway, so they didn't go over the 3 wound cap.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's not going to happen. But yeah, if casting a bit better, I think they already hit better than the standard Terminators in the list. But I think the bodyguard rule would give them an extra
What's the
lift
bodyguard
in the
rule?
right direction. I've actually got the book open because I was thinking about this earlier.
Just essentially, you can't.
Gives them an aura. Yeah, you can't target character units that have a wounds characteristic of 9 or less if they're within 3 inches of that unit.
Oh, a bit like crypto thralls and stuff around cryptics in the Necron army and all that kind of stuff that starting to be introduced into different armies.
Yeah. So even things that ignore lookouts,
yeah,
they still protect against, which is really cool.
Which is really vital for the Grey Knights because they really rely on their characters to be doing things. So, yeah, I'd like that. I think that would work. Given that we're getting, we got teased a new Crow in during Warhammer Fest. Like if we're getting a new Crow, an absolute must look. It's just even 1 point of AP. Like he's supposed to be this master fucking swordsman, but he insists on going to fight with his demonically possessed butter knife that can't kill a guardsman. Like, it's just.
I know that feeling quite well.
Give my boy a point of AP, and at least he could take a unit of guardsmen to Blender Town. Hopefully, maybe.
Yeah, I imagine they're going to take that opportunity to redesign him as a character.
Yeah,
like I'm imagining
because he doesn't do enough to warrant not taking a Brotherhood champion instead. Like no. You want to because Crow's cool, but
yeah,
he's not functionally different enough.
I can picture a new model of him, holding, having the demon weapon chained to him, and then still having a Nemesis Force sword, so he fights with both or something like that. Just something better than I carry this demon weapon because we can't let nobody else can be trusted with it.
But it doesn't do anything.
I'm just gonna bonk you with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very much the owl who throws his shoe of the Grey Knight's armory. It's just a bit shit.
It just I like that sort of he's the best swordsman in the chapter, so
but
if
he won't fight with our good swords.
but it's just just throw it into the sun, it's one of those weird awesome sci-fi things that you just you try and not think logically about it because it doesn't make any goddamn sense.
Yeah. And lastly on my list, I'd like some shit hot secondaries like the other Marine Codex got. That's what I would like. I think that's
you're obviously going to have a demon psycho related one, aren't you?
I imagine there'll be one, but I hope that GW don't go down the route where they usually do, where they just make it all demon themed. So unless you're fighting demons, most of your rules don't actually fucking do anything. They're just there for flavor.
And they shouldn't, because that's your job. Shut up.
Yeah. I imagine there'll be and again, I imagine the Thousand Suns and Grey Knights one will be the first ones that have the psychic power secondary tree. Because
I think even with the change to the current secondaries, I can't remember Bore the Witch, isn't it? That's the one that gave away all the points.
Yeah,
there's that still gives away a lot, not as much as it used to. So hopefully, they'll have something that will help balance that out a little more as an option. But hopefully, not just one thing, so you're always playing the same mission. But
yeah. I mean, most of the codices have got 4 or 5. So far. So yeah, I imagine there'll be several units do a psychic action, and you get a point for each unit that does it, or whatever.
Yeah,
and maybe a units killed in combat one, maybe.
I don't even necessarily want any new models along with this codex. We know there's going to be a new Crow essentially, but
yeah,
I love the range. It I think did they actively say that they're not primarising the Grey Knights?
It's not been directly said, but like the
They
Grey
need
Knights
to be bigger than a normal Marine.
The Grey Knights don't. I mean, the Grey Knight models are bigger than are bigger than normal
Are they?
Marines. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Plus,
Yeah,
plus
and
their
they're
weapons
still
are
lovely.
comically oversized.
Yeah.
But obviously, like the Grey Knights don't trust. Grey Knights
Anyone.
don't trust the Inquisition or the Mechanicus, let alone like the wider Imperium.
Yeah,
Like,
they barely get along with the Ordo Malleus.
Yeah. They legitimately stole a Forge World, and there's a great description. I think it's in the Mechanicus book of like all of the stages all of the servitors have to go through before they deliver the Grey Knights like their box of ammo, and they like just each side continuously mind wipes the other. So you've just got these even more brain dead servitors than normal because they're getting Men in Blacked every 5 minutes.
Yeah, and I just love the Grey Knights. Like, they're not the good guys. Like they are a necessary like it was like some of my favorite fluff from like the Vrax campaign where like they fought off chaos, and then the Space Wolves had to be the voice of reason and try and save Imperial populace and guard regiments because the Grey Knights were like, right, good job everyone, line up for your executions. And they're like, what? And they literally chased the wolves back to Fenris, and I think Bjorn the Fell-Handed had to intervene and be the voice of reason in that. It was awesome.
So have you read Ben Counter's Grey Knight novels?
No, I've got them loaded on my Kindle, but I haven't actually read any Black Library stuff for a while now.
So first point, obviously we love you, Ben.
Make love to me, Ben, please.
And secondly, like that did a lot of work to fill a lot of the absent fluff because they were released 15 years ago, something like that. And they're really good. You get like a good emphasis of what the Grey Knights are like. But sort of post 5th edition codex where they got like their first proper codex. Have you read
All hail Matt Ward.
Sent a chill up my spine. Have you read you need to read Emperor's Gift by Aaron Dembski Bowden? Because that's amazing. That's like the way that he describes how all of the Grey Knights are interconnected and how they fight with psychic powers. Plus, it has the First War of Armageddon in it, where the Grey Knights and Space Wolves fight Angron, and it's amazing. I've got a couple of copies of it, so I will drop one round to you at some point.
Sweet,
because it's incredible.
The first Watchers of the Throne book introduces the Grey Knights as well, and they fight at the Battle for the Lion's Gate with the Custodes side by side. And that shows them in like their rawest form because they fight alongside the Sisters of Silence, and the sisters nullify them in their entirety, and so they kind of get a bit pissed off by it, and they basically just are butcher Marines, and they're just literally smashing the crap out of demons.
Just like to think of
psychic abilities.
I like to think of Nathaniel Garrow going to Malcador and just be like, "Can you get rid of the fucking mimes? They're really like pissing on our bonfire."
It was something like that, yeah.
Grey Knights running around with the cheat codes off.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. It was funny, and like Valerius is like fighting alongside them, the Custody shield.
All of them just doing the Professor X pose, right?
Yeah,
like holding their temples, going beep, 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 rather than actually doing anything.
Keep like looking back at her and stuff. Like you're really like cramping our style now, love. Like it is funny. But even the Custodians are there going, these guys are very impressive. We've never met them before. We know everything about you, but we've never met you. Yet you are very impressive. That's just what they're like, and they're like.
And I just love their fluff, like the 8 quests that you have to take to become a paladin, and most of it is being left in the middle of fucking nowhere naked with a sword. Go and kill some demons. Oh, and one of each type, please. Thank you.
One of each type.
Yeah.
got a checklist on your arm.
Yeah. All they're given is a name out of the Iron Grimoire and a Nemesis Force sword, and they're chucked out in their loincloth. Go and do it. Come back or don't.
Brilliant.
They are very cool. They are probably the most interesting Marine chapter. Because
and Malcador moved a fucking moon. He teleported Titan.
Well, yeah, he took it out of the time stream, didn't he?
Yeah.
And hid it in the warp so they could basically build a chapter and not worry about like, are we going to need this in 5 minutes? Let me build this army for 1,000 years in the warp, and then I'll come back in a minute. Yeah, Malcador's cool. I like Malcador.
That is good.
Yeah, that is the end of my wish list. Not long, but
that was
very hopeful.
That was quite extensive.
Yeah, no, that's good.
For 3 points.
So Grey Knights being better than normal Marines, but not oppressively better. Get some cool psychic powers.
Sounds about right, to be fair.
Yeah.
I think cool. that's quite a
and justice for Crow
wish list.
Yeah,
justice for Crow.
Justice for Crow. Fighting around the universe. Sweet. So we'll take a quick break, and then we'll do. We'll go with you next, Ricky. So
you're always last, aren't you, mate?
Well, I like to be the main event and the star of the show.
You like to stir the porridge.
Yeah, that's such a grim metaphor.
He likes to be at the back of the human centipede.
I just like having the extra time to figure out what I'm going to talk about.
That's what it's really about, and I'm trying to stop you from doing it.
Well, tough. So enjoy another dubstep / classical music break, and we will catch you on the other side. Thanks for bearing with us there, guys. So still continuing to talk about some wild speculation about some of our armies and what we would like to see with their upcoming 9th edition codexes. Hopefully to bring them in line with Drakari and Space Marines and the like. So we just heard about Sam's fairly long wish list for, but reasonable.
It's like 8 bullet points.
But for his Grey Knights. Now, Ricky, what are you hoping is changed? Oh God, I butchered that. Ricky, what army would you like to talk about?
I want to see Howling Banshees better.
Lad.
Nah, I want to see an improvement with the Custodes book, to be fair. It's not so much like an improvement, because I think at the end of 8th they're actually quite good, and the start of 9th they're very good. Just obviously new codexes and stuff, they're falling a little bit behind, as with most codexes are. That's why we're doing this.
I forgot to have a look at their bit in Psychic Awakening. Did they roll them together with the Sisters of Silence to do like a full Talons of the Emperor style thing in the end?
Yes.
Yeah. You can add them in, and they don't basically affect the Custodes rulings and stuff like that. So you could just start tagging them in, which is nice. As basically follows on from the Indominus campaign and stuff like that, where Valorous becomes the High Lord of Terror, and they finally sign a treaty where they don't have to stick behind the walls anymore, and they're trying to reunite all the Sisters of Silence temples and all that sort of stuff, basically bringing back the two factions together. So it kind of followed suit with that, which was quite good. They're basically the Null Maidens for them, the protectors, so they can do all the fighting, and those chicks just follow behind and protect them against all the other bits and pieces, which is really cool. The army works quite well, I think. The sisters make quite good cheap
backfill units.
Yeah, that's it. They're not overly offensive. They're actually a lot worse than say like a Sister of Battle, for example. But they aid the Custodies quite well because they're those cheap battlefield units. So yeah, I've got probably about 5 points. Maybe. I don't feel the Codex needs too much. It's really good. I just feel it needs a few improvements. I think some turn-based abilities, a bit like what's being rolled out with all the other books at the moment. So doctrines with Marines and,
Power from Pain and
the
Necron protocols and stuff like that.
Yeah, stuff like that. Just to bring them in line. Like, I'm not overly sure what I think you could bring in, but I feel they probably, to bring them in line with the other books, they probably could do with something. Who knows, really? I don't know if you guys have any ideas of what you might feel would be quite beneficial to them on a turn by turn basis.
Yeah, I mean, like so most of them. I mean, the Power from Pain, for example, obviously gets better throughout the game, and the Marine ones are sort of, depending on what sort of army you're running, it makes different points of the game more effective. And the Necrons have a really limited choice of what their stuff does, but you get to pick what order it happens in.
You do, yeah.
I think like the Custos one could be like quite interesting if they get like a big buff right at the start of the game, and then it's like slowly diminishes, maybe. Obviously, because that would represent obviously them all showing up in like teleporting in their like golden light and everything, and sort of that wearing off. Maybe they're getting like pluses to their invuln that diminishes over the course of the game, or whatever, or re-rolls at the start, and then it gets full re-rolls, re-rolling ones, no re-rolls, or something like that. Could be quite cool.
Yeah, almost, I guess, or the opposite to what their Codex is currently, because the Codex is quite defensive, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to the fact that they're actually quite an offensive army. You'd want to bring back that offense, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
that's not a bad little shout, to be fair. It's not a bad shout. Another one is some kind of bolter discipline of sorts. It's almost insulting that Space Marines are better with a bolt gun than say they are. After reading the Watchers of the Throne books recently, and just how damn good the Custodies really, really are about everything that they do.
Yeah, it's hard. It's harder to aim a bolter though when you've got it on the end of a stick.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh yeah, but they're double-R bastards.
You should
They
read
can keep
these
it
books, mate. Like, they have no problem whatsoever being able to stick that bolter in someone's gob.
Yeah,
I'd be surprised if they didn't get some sort of bolter discipline, because they don't have many anyway.
I
I
guess...
mean, I appreciate a bolter discipline like what Marines have got might not happen, but some kind of way of being better at shooting. Besides just a +1 to hit.
Yeah, I mean, like just some better, like. So, for example, I mean, like the Guardian spears are actually like quite good shooting, aren't they? They're like strength 5,
damage.
AP 1, 2 damage, or something like that.
Strength 4, but yeah.
Okay, but I think it really comes into play with the Hurricane bolters on the bikes. I think that's the huge thing. It's just some bolt guns. Like you could probably
be a better bolt gun.
Yeah, it should be a better bolt gun, or it should have some different rules or something like that. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think their weapons in general are something that needs a look at.
That was another one of my points. Was boom. It was basically like better value out of those models. Like I don't want them to be cheaper. Like, I appreciate they're going to be really, really expensive guys. They're the best of the best at what they do, but all their technology is archaic, and yet you still have in the Codex a Land Raider, and it's armed with heavy bolters and las cannons and stuff, and you've still got a Contemptor Dreadnought with a multi-melter and stuff like that. But then when you look at its Forge World equivalent, you've got its Legionnaire stuff.
Yeah.
Like it needs to be kind of brought in line. Like it's, you know, as you say, the Praetorians or whatever they're called on their bikes, they need a better gun than just a Hurricane bolter. It needs to be some, I don't know, some kind of archaic weapon, just to mimic who they are, their technology that they've got with them. I just feel there's some aspects of the codex that just don't bring that into a line.
Yeah, I mean, when we played a couple of weeks ago, it was fairly obvious that like the custodes were an 8th edition codex when Trajan was swinging his big strength 10 like AP3 axe, and then it does D3 damage.
Yeah.
Like you've got like Sisters of Battle running around with damage 3 chainswords and stuff, and one of the High Lords of Terror is doing 1 damage a third of the time.
Yeah. That was my last point. Was Trajan Valoris being better than he is. He's supposed to be, besides Gilliman, like the best in the Imperium at what he does. You know, master of stratagem, literally winner of like 2 blood games. He's an absolute beast of a tank on the battlefield, yet most custodians have never actually seen him fight. But, you know, and yeah, we went face to face, didn't we, with old Drazar. To be fair, Drazar got lucky, but that's neither here nor there. It's a dice game. But yeah,
it's the fact that you could hit every attack and still not do a lot of damage to something.
Exactly. You're talking a strength 10 axe that just did nothing. His relics are pitiful. You know, these archaic 10,000-year-old relics. And they're just shite. Absolute shite. And that's really it. I don't have a lot for them. I just feel that there's some... I don't feel that they fully represent who they are, of considering their age and their martial discipline and the fact that they spent their entire lives training and they are from the gene seed of the Emperor, etc., etc., etc. They just lack their eliteness, I think, on the battlefield versus Space Marines.
I think what, like, and this is sort of one of the things that I was going to talk about with Knights, is I feel like their units, their individual units, need special rules.
Yeah, like they don't really have any.
They don't have any. Everything is just, it's a custode on a bike, or it's a custode in Terminator armor, or it's a normal custode. Like,
yeah. Or I can give him a shield, or I can slightly swap his spear out.
Yeah, but other than that, it's exactly the same, depending on... And then the characters are just that, but with more wounds.
Yeah, 100%.
That with a moustache.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. No, I agree, actually. Like, putting it into that perspective, like, they are just... You've got multiple entries in the same book of the same thing, but it's just got
just different
a
weapons.
different suit of armor.
Yeah, marginally different flavour.
Yeah. Yeah, they just... There's nothing special about them. Like, you read the books of like the Watchers of the Throne as an example, like, and they really look up to each different like household within the walls, like of the guys that wear those Alaris Terminator suits, or the guys that walk around in the Galatus Dreadnought armor. Like, they're ancients. They go to them for wisdom and stuff like that, and they just don't.
It'd be nice if they pulled in a couple of the Forge World units to definitely be in the Codex. Like there's some really cool stuff in there that. But I think if I remember, like the last time I looked, even they need pimping, and you know what Forge World's propensity to write broken rules is like. But
I think
they need a bit of love and attention.
Well, I mean, all of the Forge World stuff got its update in the compendium, didn't it?
It's okay.
It's all. Like,
but it still suffers from that custody thing of it's another custody with another weapon.
Yeah,
it's like, look at my Aquilon Terminators versus my Alaris Terminators. Like, what did my Aquilon Terminators do? Really, apart from the fact they had a better gun. Like, they're just on a monstrous great base. They just don't. Yeah, they just don't do much. Versus its Codex counterpart. It's all very odd. It's a very odd book. it feels like it needs some essence to bring them into line with who they are and their ability on the battlefield.
Yeah, and just
and their
and just
role
different.
on that battlefield.
Yes, yeah, that's what I was going to say. Just different things having a different role is fine. Like the regular custodian guard squads, like let them do actions and activate normally because they are there to like take areas and hold it. Whereas like the Terminators, you can give them rules for killing like characters and monsters and just little bits like that. I think.
Yeah. I mean, when you say that literally about the custody like guard, like even like things like Craftworld's Wraith Guard, they have the ability to just be able to fall back and carry on like normal, like or shoot at least. Like you would think that a model of it's that prominence, or is that even a word? Either
prominence,
way, prominence, should be able to do something like that. It just feels it's almost like that Grey Knight custody bubble that these two armies sit in almost. That they are better than Space Marines, yet it's difficult to make them reflect that on the battlefield without making them what we all wish they could be.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No. Yeah. I'm totally behind you there, for sure.
And maybe a new unit. Why not? Let's throw that in there.
Yeah. Why not? A new like HQ choice
rather than just a shield captain. Though there probably isn't much more than just a shield captain because I don't think there actually is. But
no. I guess you're either a shield captain or you've got a flag.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but like an almost like a chapter champion would be quite cool. So like so that what are the different subsects of custodies called? Like you've got the shadow keepers, and what are they referred to as?
I just had it open. Bear with me.
They're not houses. They're not chapters. What are they?
They are shield hosts.
Shield hosts. So having like the Blood Games representative for the shield host, for example, could be quite cool, and have like a not nowhere near as resilient or doesn't have all of the buffs that a shield captain would give out and all the command abilities and stuff, but having just a double-hard custode whose job it is to just go murder big things and stuff or kill characters or like hold the end of a line would be quite cool.
Yeah, I could see that happening. Like they all have different roles and stuff. Like some of them are quite like scholarly based, quite bookwormy. Like they're all quite. It's very odd. They're all very like independent. Well, they are independent warriors. It's almost.
They're also like quite human, aren't they?
Very much so, yeah.
Like they've like I said, they all study like art and history and things.
Yeah, that's it. They're also very aware that they are engineered. They're very aware that they have been created. They're very much. I feel that a Space Marine, for example, almost denies the fact that they've been genetically enhanced. This and the other. But these guys are very aware that they've been built. They've been.
Yeah, they're very aware that they're a tool.
Yeah, exactly, and they know that. They've got. To abide by orders, this and the other, despite what they might think, and this and the other. But yes, they almost have like a second ambition of I love my arts, I love my music.
Well, generally they've had a lot of time on their hands. Not doing anything.
a good 10,000 years apparently. That's why the Battle of the Lionsgate's quite funny. They're almost like they don't really know what to do. Like trying to get back together and uniform as an army and then go out and fight. They're very much like what?
Oh, where's the shield captain? Oh, he's down at the lake painting ducks. Like, with his easel.
And you got Valoris running out, going, "Rah! Oh, where's everybody?" Oh,
all he's done is kick the Roomba in the throne room for the last 20,000 years.
Yeah. He's brilliant in the second book, though. He's very brilliant. You hear a bit more about him in the Regent's Shadow, where Guilliman's already back and obviously appointed him as High Lord of Terror and stuff like that. And it's very much about his final plan at the end of it, where he almost manipulates custodes themselves to believing one thing and this, that, and the other, and everything was all planned out. And ends up assassinating a bunch of High Lords of Terror, where they stage a coup because they didn't like what was going on. Basically, Guilliman comes in, gets rid of all the old High Lords of Terror, reinstates these new High Lords of Terror, and the older High Lords of Terror basically try and stage this coup, and Valorous comes in and basically goes kind of just gets on with it, pretends he understands what's going on, and actually in the background he's got the High Lord of the Officio Assassinorum doing his dirty work for him, where he just reveals all these Vindicare assassins and just kills everybody. It's proper cool. But he's a real strategy master.
He's had a lot of time to think about it.
Exactly. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the custode should almost be and sort of this is sort of drifting away from what we can expect them to be like in game. But almost because I imagine that they don't revere the Emperor as a god. But they're almost the the only way I can sort of is when you get the when the USSR fell, you've got the really hardcore communists who really believe, and they're because they've always been side by side with the Emperor. They don't see him as a god like the rest of the Imperium does, but they're fully in tune with what his great plan was, and
100%.
We're the fervent believers. We're the Japanese warriors found on islands 60 years after the end of the war.
Yeah. They are very, very much ride or die.
Yeah.
Which is why I think when Guilliman comes back and he ends up going to Terror and stuff, he's like, yeah, I'm glad you guys are kind of still around, because you're probably the only guys that believe what I believe.
Well, that's it. When Guilliman wakes up or whatever, he's in despair about what the Imperium is, because they're all worshipping ghosts and think he's a god, and everyone's
and the poor old custodians are stuck behind the walls by some stupid law.
Yeah,
and they're we can't do anything about this.
Yeah, so that's quite cool. And again, some themed secondaries about characters killing stuff and holding ground or whatever. Could be quite cool.
Yeah, I don't even know where we'd probably start with that. It's difficult because the way they fight is very odd. I think it's not hugely reflected in history and books and stuff. It's very much they turned up, they smashed everything, they killed everything, they win.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to understand how they actually fight.
Yeah.
I guess they can fight in any way, shape, or form that they think, because they are who they are. But how you would reflect that in a book is probably quite, or on a codex, should I say, is probably quite difficult.
Mm.
And what I think they might want to do is probably not quite reflective.
Yeah, possibly. I mean,
they should be flying across the battlefield, firing, las cannons everywhere, and blowing everything up. That's what it's really about, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely that.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah, nice. A nice.
Should we talk about Eldar?
No,
I'm only joking.
Is it time for Callum's weekly segment on how much he loves Drukhari?
Yeah. So I feel like the current Drukhari Codex needs an update because it's not quite there, because it did lose.
I've heard recently it's shit.
Yeah, it's garbage.
I heard it's gone right down the shitter.
I mean, I did quite. I think it was it Goonhammer or was it? No, it was Bella Lost Souls, because it was an actual Bella Lost Souls article that for the first time in years actually made me laugh, and it was
really?
Drukhari are garbage now because
that's the one you shared, yeah.
Yeah, it's the one. Someone shared it, and it's it's entirely tongue in cheek, because Drakari were like second in one of the events and third in the other one, but Marines were at the top. The funny thing, the funny thing about that one though is that was it John Lennon? Yeah, it was John Lennon.
The John Lennon,
not the John Lennon, the 40k player John Lennon. Took one of the big US events with Drakari, and then the next event he won. He's won it with this essentially anti-Drakari White Scars list, which is purely there to fight Drakari. So he's clearly he's a 40k playtester. He plays and coaches with the Art of War over in the States. So clearly they've had access and been thinking about Drakari for a very long time. And it's not just we'll all jump on the Drakari bandwagon because they're the best, because they know that other people are going to jump on it. So already this Marine list was probably perfected 2 or 3 months ago. Ready for when people these waves of Drakari armies start coming out. So I found it quite funny that he won. I'm pretty sure he won the Dallas Open, which was that event that had 5 Drakari armies in the top 6 or whatever.
It's almost like when Ben Johnson rocks up at an AOS event and with a brand new book that he's actually been playtesting for 6 weeks, and then suddenly wins with it, and everyone goes, what the hell?
I mean, I think there's actually quite a nuanced conversation about almost what playtesters should be able to do with events so close to army releases. But it's a really difficult thing because they're not paid to do it. It's not like the people who play test Magic the Gathering sets for Wizards of the Coast. That's actually just their job. So they're not allowed to play in official events and stuff like that.
That's a whole different level of competitive gaming, though.
Yeah, well,
Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah, but as sort of an example, or even people who test competitive esports games, they're not allowed to enter money events and stuff like that because they've got prior access to it and stuff. But obviously,
are we looking at Alan?
No, he builds them. He's not actually good at video games.
Ooh.
I'm waiting for when he hears this at some point in the next week, and then I get an angry message from him. But yeah, I think there is a conversation to be had there, but it's sort of I feel like the only really reasonable cutoff if you were going to run one as a TO would be A, they'd have to know who the playtesters actually are in advance. Yeah. And B, sort of say, well, only once the FAQs come out to fix any blatantly obvious loopholes that you're going to know about that we know are going to get fixed, but nobody else has had the chance to exploit.
Lucky for us, we live on the south coast, and we don't really know many people who live up north.
Well, it doesn't really matter. We live in the UK. There aren't any 40k playtesters here, pretty much.
Well, yeah, apart from old Lawrence and chaps at
there's some of the guys over at Tabletop Tactics, and I think that's it, pretty much. And then the rest of them are American.
Which is quite funny.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure all of the AOS playtesters are in the UK. But that's quite funny. So yeah, cool. We'll take another quick break, and then I'm going to ramble on for an undetermined amount of time about Imperial Knights.
I was expecting Dark Elder.
They've literally just had a codex.
No, doesn't matter.
This is what we're comparing them to.
I don't care.
That Drakari codex is good, but I want it to be better.
Exactly.
I don't care about A, other people's feelings, or B, game balance.
It's obvious that they're crap now, so what would you want better?
Garbage. Absolute hot garbage. I think Liquefy should do 2d6 hits, but whatever.
I'm going for a wee. See you guys later.
Bye. Wonderful. Thank you for sticking with us through another break. So I'm going to ramble on about how I think, or how I would like GW to update the Imperial Knights, and I guess by association Chaos Knights, but they're not really a real faction.
They don't really exist. They're just some lost souls, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're not a real thing.
Yeah, for them to
just
be
goth knights.
Emos.
Yeah. They're scions that have locked themselves in their room to read bad poetry and listen to Marilyn Manson in the 1990s. That's what they are.
Yes. So what I think GW can do to update the codex and bring it in line and make it a really playable book in 9th edition. So, like the major thing I think that needs to be addressed is how Knights score the primary mission, because they find it very, very difficult too at the moment, because they've only got one instance of being able to access objectives secured. They can have it on one knight as a free blade, and then you can have one knight that has a relic that can be objective secured. But in both of those instances, it's really easy to just put more models on the objective and take it away from the knight. So I think, like,
I was about to say, do you almost feel like they should have it as standard, and then you just put 2 models on the damn objective and they're screwed?
Yeah, I think that's like the obvious trap that I think would just be a pointless rule. What I think they could maybe do is so in AOS the Mega Gargants count as like X number of models.
I was about to say that, yeah.
But again, in AOS they don't have. There's a couple of missions where you need battle line to score objectives, but it's not like battle line has primacy over anything else. So they don't really have like an objective secured equivalent. So I thought maybe you could have knights count as like X amount of models, and then that degrades as they go down their wound charts. So maybe starting at like 15, 10, 5, because even a knight on its last legs is massive. Like it is still a big thing.
Behemoth.
Well, yeah, exactly. And then I thought, so, but how would you get around them? Sort of the objective secured problem, and I think like if a knight moves on to an objective, maybe in a pure knight army or something like that, other things don't get objective secured against them.
You sound like a real fanboy now.
Well, like, yeah,
I'm going to take away someone else's abilities.
But like,
it makes sense though. Like,
no, it doesn't.
I could be a little guardsman and be like, I'm going. No. I've given up the dark arts, mate. I've given up. I'm clean. I'm off a night.
Yeah,
but it makes sense. A giant, like multi-story fucking war machine, windmilling.
Knights. Then are you talking? Maybe say Titanic models.
Yeah. I mean, it's. I mean, I like. Obviously, I feel like knights need it more than anything else because they are their own.
What else is Titanic?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like you could run 3 Wraith Knights, but why would you? Because they're garbage.
Yeah, or a Baneblade.
Yeah,
is that even Titanic?
It's yeah, they are Titanic.
Yeah, that's not.
See, I think tying what Karen just said to the Titanic keyword makes sense because something like that rumbling onto a fucking objective
is going to own it.
Yeah,
like, or at least it like if they charge, for example. So if a knight charges and ends its charge move within range of an objective, like enemy models don't count as having objectives secured until for in the next turn. So, i.e., when the knight comes to steam in and take that objective, you're not going to be able to hold it from them. Basically, you're not going to be able to stand your ground and hold that objective.
As he has a tantrum.
Yeah, exactly. but or something like that. Like that's the major problem I think that they have, is that like a knight can charge in and clear or have a good go at clearing an objective, but even a fully healthed knight charging 10 guardsmen on an objective, for example, like he's got 12 attacks, he's hitting on 3s, he's killing them on 2s. Well, on average, that leaves a couple of guardsmen left. So all it takes is there being so all it takes is, you know, like rolling a 1 on a morale, or, you know, getting past the combat attrition rolls, or just spending 2 CPs to make them not fail, or they're near a commissar, and the 2-3 guardsmen that are left are looking at this like 20,000-year-old
just
knight,
flipping it off.
and it's like, yeah, well, I'm there's 60 of me, so that means that I've got like it just doesn't make any sense. Like,
what about them making them almost fail their morale?
Yeah, I think that could be interesting, or they could, like, the thing is,
you say like 10 guardsmen as an example. I mean, I guess it's different when it comes to a space marine or something like that.
Yeah.
But you're not going to kill all the guardsmen. But if you make them fail the morale, you're most likely probably going to kill the rest of them like that.
Well, but that's the thing. Like, combat attrition is one of those things that if you, because you have to remember, it's not you lose a guy for every point you fail your leadership test by anymore.
Yeah, it's true.
It's you lose a guy and then you roll for everyone. So I thought, like, maybe when they charge, like, they could force enemy units back because they're physically having to retreat, but then you're bringing in another instance of movement into the game, which can then be manipulated by people.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe like the turn that and not armigers, because they're not, you know, they're only,
they're not
like
real
big,
knights.
they're not big dreadnought sized, but like the big things, maybe the turn that they charge, they can switch off objective secured, and then, you know, because they've got their big war horns blaring and they're chopping people up, and it's a knight.
Get a blaster on their shoulders.
Yeah, so it's just like I think that's the major thing, or potentially make them slightly killier in combat with their stomps and combat weapon attacks, and give them all make them all characters. Because pretty much in every knight army at the moment,
they're all characters anyway, aren't they?
Well, yeah, exactly. Every knight army that you run at the moment, through combinations of giving them extra warlord traits and relics, you make them all characters. Whereas, like, a knight pilot is a super experienced warrior. Like, having them so they can sit on an objective, and then if someone comes near them, you can just heroically intervene without having to buy warlord traits and stuff. I think that could be that could go some way to stop people just nicking objectives off of you with one model.
As an aside, is there anything more satisfying than heroically intervening with a knight when someone's clearly forgotten they can do that?
Yeah. Like, I feel like most people expect it, but there is one warlord trait where you can do it up to 6 inches away.
Beautiful.
And like I do kind of want to try that because it's just sort of you can't come anywhere near this objective.
The thing is, everyone knows they can do it, but the amount of games I've played with knights where people just in the heat of the moment just forget that they can fucking do it, and then you're moonwalking, and it's amazing. It's
my favorite one is when they retreat from combat and they like just stand 2 inches away from you, and you're just like, that's a bad moonwalk.
So do you think that because when you actually look at what an Imperial Knight is, each one is actually a character.
Yeah, exactly.
You could create, like you create chapters and craft worlds and Necron things,
dynasties,
etc. Like you could create those per night, rather than a household.
Yeah,
so
I don't know.
Actually have individual ability, because each knight is effectively better at one thing than another.
I think that's
they're all
sort
trained
of what
in
they've
different
attempted
ways.
with the free blades.
Yeah, so there's a so like you can have one free blade per detachment, and that is a knight who doesn't gain the household rules but gains some other rules instead. And there's an army of renown in the first Caradon book, where everything is a free blade.
Really, that's where I'm talking.
So yeah, but I mean, this sort of feeds into the second point I was going to make, and the point I made with the custodes, is sort of the individual types of knight need special rules.
Yeah,
because
they're different roles on the battlefield.
Yeah, you just see knight with X weapon because of the meta rather than to do a specific role.
Yeah,
like the only one that is slightly different is the gallant because it hits on 2s in combat and has an extra attack, but it's got no guns. Or it's only
they
got
hit on
stuns.
2s now.
Yeah. So
Oh,
gallant
nice.
Gallant has 5 attacks with weapon skill 2+.
Yeah.
So
that was my favourite knight, old Yeetus Incredibus.
But unfortunately, because of the way that most events are dominated by obscuring ruins, they find it actually difficult to get gallants into combat.
Oh,
Like,
okay. Can't
you
get
can send
there.
you can send a gallant like 30 inches across the board in one table and punch whatever you want. Like, you can do that, but if your opponent stood an inch and a half behind a wall, the gallant can't get into combat with them. So yeah, I feel like each type of knight needs its own set of rules. Like an errant should get like not saying I want these exact rules or whatever, but like
you've heard it here. Callum wants these exact rules,
but like rerolls to wound against monsters and vehicles, or like pluses
sense.
to hit because it's there to melt.
It's their specific role.
Yeah. And like the warden, for example, who's got the heavy flamer and the Avenger bolt cannon or whatever it is, like have him get pluses to hit against infantry units or large units and stuff.
We're almost talking like an aspect warrior style approach to a unit where each one does its own thing.
Well, that's exactly it. I mean, if you read through the Knight Codex, you've got all of these great descriptions of like this is what errants are like, this is what paladins are like,
and yet effectively on the battlefield they're just a knight. It's
exactly
gun.
Like the errant and the paladin and the crusader and precept. Well, no, not the preceptor. The preceptor is the example because he's
the one with the zappy gun, right?
He's the one with the zappy gun that I love. But he has an aura.
He does something else, doesn't he?
Yeah, he has an aura of armagers, reroll 1s to hit within 6 inches of him.
Does he?
Because the preceptors are seen as the like the really wise ones. That are gifted.
We're talking like Roman history now, aren't we?
Yeah. And they're there to guide all of the young pilots. So seeing like, you know, a gallant being able to, you know, again, randomly throwing it out there, like consolidate 6 inches instead of 3 or
well, you
whatever.
don't want too much, do you?
It's just, no. I want them to be good.
I'm desperate, man.
And it was easier to think about how to make knights better than it was to make Gene Stealer Cult better. Because I've not got a fucking clue.
I do agree, though.
I would like all of the knights. Oh, sorry, Rick, you go first, mate.
No, you're right. Like, I think all three of us are on exactly the same path with 3 armies that we've chosen.
Mm-hmm.
That there's just not enough distinction between each of the army's units that we've chosen. They are effectively all just exactly the same thing with just a different gun or a different name, and effectively all you're doing is just fielding different types of them on the battlefield, and yet you get no distinction. Whereas the new codexes all have effectively different battlefield roles, different stratagems, different secondaries across the board to suit them.
Well, that's it. I mean, there's not really anything in the Drakari book that I go, that's an actual waste of a data slate. The worst things in there are the beasts, but
It's
even
probably
then,
still got a use.
yeah, even then, you could justify taking some of those units, I think. Whereas at the moment, if you're trying to play knights competitively, you either take multiple crusaders, which are just it's the best knight because you only stomp anyway, and it's got a second main gun.
Yeah, Brappy bot.
Yeah, or you take the
Brappy bot,
or you take the Forge World Megara. Which is essentially just a normal knight, but it's got a damage 3 stomp.
Like, oh, nice. So he's got a bigger foot.
Yeah.
It's got a built-up
Jeremy
shoe.
Beadle of the night world.
But he does have a claw, so I guess that makes it tricky. I feel
like to see them give the other knights the Canis Rex option, where unless they go nuclear, the bloody Scion pops out and starts running around, I'd like that.
I would love that because he now comes in every standard night box because
does he?
Yeah, so they incorporate when they brought him out and the preceptor out, it's just another sprue that's inside the night kit. So it comes with it.
Can you change his pose though, or is it every single night going to be exactly the same?
Well, yeah,
they all pop out and they're all like, "Ha!
I've got my helmet and I've got my little box of tools."
Having the little Scions running around, there's nothing better than gunning down Gilliman with Canis Rex after he got out of the night. That's it.
See, I would like that because that is cool. It's very Titanfall. And
it is. I do feel that could be quite cool.
But then I feel like that's probably not going to happen realistically because
it's not Necromunda.
That model is Sir Hector from the Canis Rex.
Yeah,
it's not like there's an alternate head that comes on the sprue where he's.
You wait 15 years, mate.
Maybe.
Like the Cadians, there'll be a new head.
Well, plus,
I like it because that knight doesn't count as destroyed until you kill the pilot as well.
Yeah, I mean that's where you could probably run into some issues with while we stand we fight and things like that. Plus. Obviously,
that could be a nightmare in that situation. I didn't think about that.
Plus, that sprue isn't in the Valiant or Castellan kit, and then also you're thinking Forge World Knights don't come with it as well. It's one of those like
new plan pack, 25 quid a pop.
I've picked up a bunch of like random Imperium models that like I want to have as the pilots for all my knights as a like nice little display project.
Is some of them Blackstone Fortress models by any chance?
Some of them are, because they're great, wacky.
It makes sense.
They're in wacky looking armor and stuff. So being able to do that for like a knight though would be quite cool if it's your warlord or whatever. For sure. So I mean those are pretty much it. They struggle with the primary. If they get a codex, then they'll have their own suitable secondaries. So that will sort of fill the gap of grind them down every game, either domination or / engage on all fronts. And then the problem is with knights is choosing the third one. Because if your opponent doesn't have like a lot of vehicles or a lot of psychers or a lot of characters,
there's nothing else for you.
You're pretty much bum out of luck because they can't do actions. They don't have psychers. And like if your opponent's got, 3 characters and 2 vehicles, it's not like, I can score 6 points maybe. Like it's so having a sort of a couple of secondaries where obviously you can choose one that will give you a reliable amount of points. I think is needed with them. For sure. And I feel like some of their weapons need a bit of a boost in comparison to what some of the Marine stuff can do. Again, like extra points of damage or a little bit of AP or a couple of extra shots on some things. Like making the...
bring it in line with where the books are going.
Yeah, like make the rapid fire battle cannon 2 damage instead of D3. I don't have any problem with that.
Discipline.
Yeah. And again, the stomp, just make it 2 damage instead of D3.
Yeah,
Is it still
I'd rather a
D3, is it?
consistent level of damage. Yeah, that
Yeah.
like the Knight
Considering
Codex
the
is
up on
Codex
wounds
D3.
on everything. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's it. I mean, like, oh yeah, I would. A knight stepping on you is strength 8. It is AP 2. Like that could make, because it is a knight stepping on you. But
You can be a
it's,
Primaris Marine all you want. It's going to crush your head.
yeah, that's the sort of hope that it can actually instead of you.
there's a 1 in
hope,
3 chance you'll walk it off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There's a 1 in 3 chance that you have to take a second stomp to be killed, and then inevitably that second stomp will do 3 damage.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a few bits in there where I think like just a little bit of consistency that we're starting to see. Like a Dark Lance, for example, does 3 plus D3 damage, so it's doing at least 4. So again, just losing some of that.
Let's not take it away from the Dark Lance. It's going to be the best 40k anti-tank weapon there is.
Well, the Cognis las cannons in the Mechanicus book are strength 9 AP 3 plus D3 damage. They're even better than Dark Lance.
Oh, they've already shit on it. Oh, it had to be. It's Imperium. Had to be.
So yeah, but having taking the Preceptor as an example, I really like the Preceptor because I like it. It's a big weapon.
Yeah, the Las Impulse is amazing.
It's got a big wacky gun.
It's such an underrated weapon.
Yeah. But like it got a little bit of a buff in the Psychic Awakening because there's a stratagem to make it heavy 6 instead of D6. But if you're not using that, it was designed as a weapon that is D6 shots that do D6 damage. Like you're never going to get a consistent level of damage out of it, or even anything reliable, because every roll that you're doing with it is just throw a load of things in the air and see what lands.
Dice, you'll have games with it where you'll do nothing, and then others where it's off the scale, and then never anything in between.
Yeah, and that's exactly.
You just want some consistency.
Yeah, I mean every time I shoot it, I just use the stratagem to make it heavy 6 because that makes that's just needed. Otherwise you're going to roll one shot to shoot at a Hive Tyrant or a Silent King or whatever.
A Hive Tyrant?
Hive Tyrants are still in Tyranid armies.
Also Tyranid army?
Yeah, all right. You know what I mean. But
I do know what you mean. I just quite like the fact that you brought a Tyranid army up.
Yeah. Wow.
Well done for creating diversity.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I feel. I feel like there's again their weapons need to be taken a look at, but in the same vein that all weapons in all codexes that have been done have been looked at. So hopefully that's a level of consistency that carries across to them. And then just reasons to take paladins and errants over crusaders, basically, and other than them just being 50 points cheaper.
And that's where the Battlefield role will come in.
For sure.
See, I always liked my errant, just because that thermal cannon's so good for cracking open shield captains.
I mean, you
that's the only job.
You've seen, I mean,
but they were everywhere for a while. Like every Imperial army.
On bikes,
yeah, always on bikes. There's always like a gaggle of shield captains that have turned up to every fucking fight.
Yeah.
There was a lot of them apparently at one point.
Yeah.
I mean, since the start of 9th edition, most lists that are played competitive with Knights where they've got Crusaders, they don't have the rapid fire battle cannon on it. They have the big melter cannon because it's better against Space Marines. It's half the amount of shots, but it's just better because it's going through their armor. It's still wounding on 2s, and it kills a Space Marine every time you roll a 2+ instead of a 3+, essentially.
It's still where you need to create that army list, isn't it? That just beats Marines or is good against Marines, and then anything else is just in its way almost.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, like Marines are the thing that like are now held up as the paragons of the edition because they've been dominant since the start of the edition.
And Drukhari are obviously shit now.
Yeah, and Drukhari are terrible because Space Marines beat Drukhari one time.
Yeah, exactly.
But
That's how this works, isn't it?
it's like Marines have had a definite boost in this edition to probably the point where they should be, like thematically and stuff. And we're still going to see buffs and Marines be dominant in the edition because the supplements that have already come out in 9th edition are really good. You can imagine the supplements that came out in 8th edition will get redone at some point, and there'll be a new wave of Marines anyway, because obviously. And Chaos Marines are still to come out, Thousand Suns are still to come out, and Grey Knights are still to come out. So we're not away from the power armored menace.
How are we doing with Death Watch?
I still can't figure them out.
Okay, we'll leave that then.
I keep opening the supplement and being like, it's got to be really good because they've got 1,000 good special rules, but trying to figure out a list that works.
Let's leave it. Let's not go there.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, that's kind of what I hope with Knights, just so like you're not playing at such a primary and secondary disadvantage every game. Is basically what they need without having to soup.
That's an obvious fix, then, isn't it? If they've got a primary and secondary problem.
That's it. Yeah.
The army doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, like they can kill stuff. Like I played Pete's Drakari army last weekend, maybe the weekend before, and like I kicked the shit out of it, but it had a decent lead on both primary and secondaries, so you can kill all you want with Knights.
So what was the result then?
I think Pete won by 11 points.
Okay, just what based on the fact that it could just get around that battlefield faster, score.
Yeah, it was. He could reliably
you could kill it all you wanted, but you couldn't score your objectives over him.
Yeah, basically he had lots more units than I had. Obviously, as soon as you start losing Knights, areas of the battlefield opens up for mandrakes and scourges and units to dive into. Plus, it's very easy to throw. I mean, if I've got a Knight that's just touching an objective because he's consolidated onto it or whatever, it's very easy to run 5 warriors onto an objective and take it off of me. Or fly Venom on, or like just fly Venom on to contest it. Done. Like it's one of those sort of that's what they need to have at least some.
It's too easy, isn't it, to take any lead away from a Knight?
Yeah, that's what I feel. I feel like it shouldn't be that easy, but we'll see. But I'm going to continue playing with them. I'm going to be taking them to the Confrontation Summer Showdown in July. Maybe with some AdMech dusted in, but primarily Knights. For
Yay!
Sure. So I will be the best Knight player at Confrontation again. I can't see there being much competition. So
I heard Knights were banned.
Don't ban Knights. I spent £200 on a Knight. I want to bring it.
Time to reintroduce that Forge World ban.
Yeah.
Don't. I might make people cry again.
I genuinely love how much rage it can inspire. And I love my Forge World shit.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Right. So I think we're pretty much done here. Right. We'll keep this episode fairly trim. I mean, it's about an hour and 40, I think. So we've done well. We really dragged out those 3 sections.
We do. I think we did well.
Yeah,
I think we did well.
We did some waffle, which is really good, and hopefully GW are listening and they can take our ideas into account.
Lee, we're looking at you.
Yeah, Lee.
It's all on you.
You've obviously got no work to do, so please send emails.
Oh, and anybody who's listening, go to Warhammer Portsmouth in the next week because it is their birthday.
It is. I might go there and get one of those limited edition models.
Yeah.
What limited edition models can we get from Whammy P?
It's the Stormcast who's got like the Minotaur's head and the old man looking Necron cryptex.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, they're instead of obviously because of COVID, instead of the store birthdays being a single day, they stretch them out for. So I think they're available from tomorrow through to next Sunday. So you can just order it in store, and then it will appear in the next week or so.
Nice.
Yeah, there you go. Have a plug for Games
Doesn't mean I have
Workshop.
to go down to town though. I mean, that's quite a trek.
Yeah, but that's what you get for living outside of a major city.
It's probably not what It's not everything.
Portsmouth's not a major
Yeah.
city.
You fucking pumpkin.
Why is it not a major city? It is to me.
I mean,
I don't live in it.
It's like it's tiny.
It's true. It is tiny,
But
but it's the waterfront city.
it is the waterfront city. Yeah, there are no other cities on the waterfront
That have a sign that
That
says
had-
the waterfront city.
It was the first waterfront city which nabbed that slogan.
Yeah.
Good job, Portsmouth.
If Carlsberg made waterfront cities.
Yeah, it would be Portsmouth would be a cheap version of that.
Heineken.
I think Heineken's better than Carlsberg.
Do you reckon?
I don't know. I don't really drink beer, but Heineken's.
I don't.
Heineken's
To be
Dutch.
fair, I can't probably have this comparison conversation.
Yeah, I think Heineken's Dutch, whereas I don't know what Carlsberg is pretending to be. So
I don't know.
I imagine
Though I
Heineken's
know
better.
when I lived in Cyprus, they brewed their own Carlsberg,
Ooh.
which is stronger than the UK Carlsberg. It was quite nice.
Bathtub Carlsberg.
Yeah, mate. Good shit.
Right. I think we'll leave it here. Any plugs? Anyone say hello to other than
No, I hate you all.
usual? Right. Enjoy. We'll see you next time. Engage with our social media.